Herobrine is one scary dude. He's Minecraft's most iconic non-canon villain and has a wide array of powers, but maybe the ones we know aren't the only ones. Maybe there's a little more to this creepypasta icon than we originally thought, and that's what we're exploring today. Let's do it! And let me know, have you ever seen Herobrine yourself? Or can you confirm any of these powers as true for me? Be sure you let me know down below. In a 10-time alteration, perhaps Herobrine doesn't actually go invisible or doesn't need to do so, because maybe he can just control the flow of time. I mean, like, think about it. Minecraft days are 20 minutes long. 10 minutes for the day, 10 minutes for the night. However, does it ever feel like the days are longer than the nights, or vice versa? Or maybe, have you ever thought that you saw something out of the corner of your eye only to turn around, basically instantly, and see nothing? It's entirely possible that these phenomena aren't due to us just seeing things or being confused, which would explain a lot with me. It could be due to Herobrine freezing time for long enough to get away, or slowing down time so that you end up getting haunted by a couple more phantoms. I mean, like every story needs its Lucifer, right? Plus, this is a way for me to deny ADHD. Although I've thoroughly accepted it now. And if you like Minecraft and Herobrine and want to see more of it, be sure you hit like and subscribe, okay? So that I know. If you guys don't like the video, how else am I supposed to know what you want to see? If you don't hit like, we're just gonna end up doing like Roblox videos or something, okay? And you don't want that. No one wants that, I hope. And at 9, death. Some players also believe that Herobrine is fueled by the deaths of players, that every time you die and respawn, he ends up getting stronger, which is typically why you'll see him more often when you're deep into a world instead of it being at the beginning, unless you intentionally summon him. This could also explain the recent rise in popularity of hardcore mode from Java Edition, because you don't have to worry about respawning, and Herobrine doesn't get any stronger. For the person playing, or for any of us. I mean, hardcore wasn't really all that popular back during Phil's 5-year run. Only after he died and Dream really started did hardcore mode really become as popular as it is today. With other Minecrafters like the Hermits even having things like the Life series set up by Grian, where they include others who aren't Hermits, Smallish Beans and In the Littlewood being the most notable for me. But even Minecrafters seemingly nobody had heard of before blowing up thanks to hardcore, like Sanddiction, which is fairly recent from what I can tell. Maybe that's because we've learned that Herobrine was gaining power from our suffering, like therapists. Yeah, that's right. Therapists want to help you, but the moment that they help everyone, they're out of a job. In at 8, Transfiguration. Is Herobrine's only form the entity that we commonly associate with him? A Steve skin with blank white eyes? We know that this isn't really the case, because we know that Herobrine can control other mobs like cows and chickens. So what if he can do more than just control them? What if he can become them? Has the Ender Dragon never been a little bit more aggressive than usual? Maybe a little too aggressive? Has an Enderman started attacking you without you even looking in its direction? Did you think that that blaze had pale white eyes? I mean, Herobrine being able to transform his body is certainly possible, but what do you think? Transfiguration, or is it just like mind control? Is he making you see him as he wants you to see him, like the sound illusion discs from the FNAF novels? Let me know in the comments. And it's 7, conversion. And no, I'm not talking about Herobrine wanting to convert you to Notchism. There are a few characters in the game that have connections to others, witches and villagers for example. Even though villagers are closer to illagers, that transition would make more sense. Witches also have to come from somewhere. And seemingly, the illagers do it themselves. They make more illagers. So how could witches have been made? What if Herobrine is this cause? I mean, we have the lore about illagers and how they are villager outcasts, and witches do help them in raids, but witches have their own huts and swamps, and they don't have the same pale Rick Sanchez gray skin tone that the illagers do. So there has to be something more there, right? And what about the piglins? How did they come to be? And why do pigs turn into zombie piglins when struck by lightning? Even zombies and drowned. Is Herobrine the cause behind all of these, or is it simply just meant for the lulz? Probably the lulz. Lulz with a Z. And at 6, time travel. Ha. Time travel, the possibility of which has been debated for ages. Some say it's possible, some say it's possible but only to the future, so others say that it's impossible, but maybe Herobrine is the missing link between what we see as truth and fiction. I love me some time travel stories, alright? It's like my favorite thing ever, and there are indicators that this is a real power with Herobrine. Take Hermitcraft Season 6 for example. After the release of the Village and Pillage update, Minecraft 1.14, Grian ended up losing all of his diamonds, so in an effort to get them them back in around episode 74 of season 6, he builds a time machine and steals his own diamonds, thus being the reason he lost them in the first place. However, the time machine then gets captured, and Green enlists the help of Rendog and Impulse SV to get the time machine back. When they do get it back though, they use it to escape, but end up in an alpha version of Minecraft. While trying to get the resources to build a new alpha version of the time machine and get it actually, get them home, Herobrine ends up logging in. He stands on a beach, but then he logs out when Green sees him. While this was an earlier version, the hippies ended up time traveling there. So does this mean that Herobrine can do that too? Halfway through into number 5, weather control. Weather is an interesting thing in Minecraft. Some say that it's more likely to rain the less you sleep, some say that that feature was removed when they added phantoms, some say that it was just never true, and others think that it's random. But what if it isn't? I mean, sure, we haven't had aberrant events like snow and desert biomes, but that could just be due to limits within the coding of the game itself. So what if Herobrine is really the one controlling the weather, making it thunderstorm at the worst times and only rain whenever you need thunder? It's also possible that he uses this ability to transform villagers, pigs, and creepers into their evil or more evil variants, since lightning is the only way that we can actually witness these changes for ourselves. So maybe if he isn't doing it off screen, he's doing it right in front of our eyes without you even noticing. I mean, it sounds crazy, but why would a villager standing 3 meters away from lightning turn into a witch, okay? Why would a walking bomb that may even be a plant get charged with electricity? Yeah. Simple. Supernatural intervention. Or cheating intervention, but I'll explain that in a minute. And at 4, self-creation. No, self-creation, not the other thing. Did Herobrine create himself? I mean, while not confirmed, it could absolutely be the case. Herobrine is an immensely powerful entity meant to be Notch's dead brother, which would mean that he'd most likely have knowledge of the inner workings of the game, as his brother explained his latest passion project to him. And if Herobrine did die prematurely, it would be reasonable to latch on to the one thing that he knew would always be around, one of the world's most popular video games. Plus, he's so powerful that willing himself into existence is totally within the realm of possibility. Furthermore, he could have had the whole classic chicken and the egg scenario, or I guess a better analogy in this case would be a Savitar and Barry Allen scenario, where he ends up being the cause for his own creation. It would also help bolster the whole time travel ability I talked about earlier. But mostly the whole chicken and the egg thing, okay? It wouldn't make sense because the egg had to come first, but like the egg being the game and then Herobrine being the proto-chicken and... It's complicated. There was a world's first chicken that was made from a proto-chicken and a proto-rooster, okay? But that's a story for another day. That was a college presentation from like 4 years ago. God damn. Getting close to the end into number 3, memory alteration. Have you seen Herobrine recently? Are you sure about that? Because it's entirely possible that Herobrine can mess with your mind. While earlier I mentioned that maybe he's altering your perception of him to make him look like monsters, what if instead he's able to just wipe memories? I mean, we haven't really had many sightings recently, and if Herobrine is fueled by the deaths of players, he would be far more powerful now than he was even a few years ago. Maybe this wasn't originally in his skill set, but since then he could have unlocked this ability. It could be why we haven't really seen him recently, because we actually have, but he ends up wiping those instances from memory for whatever reason. Do you ever suddenly forget why you went into a room of your house in-game, or why you went into a specific chest? Do you ever swear you saw something in that cave but then suddenly forget why you're down there? Maybe it's not someone canceling your actions like you're a Sims character, but maybe it's instead Herobrine wiping his encounters from your memory to keep his current plans a secret. That's something I would do. Definitely. But ultimately, in at number 2, Transcendence. Can Herobrine actually escape the Minecraft plane and come into the real world? Can he escape the confines of the game? It's something that many have speculated for over the years, but it can never be confirmed. However, I do actually have some evidence. A quote from Notch that I've recently loved using in Herobrine videos is, quote, "I've publicly told people there's never been any such thing as Herobrine, and I don't have any dead brothers, and that letting too many animals die in lava is a foolproof way to summon him, but that you don't need to be afraid of him. He only means well. He's looking out for you, trying to warn you of the dangers you can't see. There's certainly are no physical manifestations of Herobrine that will sneak out of your computer if you leave Minecraft running at night, looming over you as you sleep with his pale eyes inches away from your face as he tries to shout at you to wake up. And sometimes you wake up with a jolt and then he's gone, and all that lingers is the memory and faint echo of his wordless screaming." End quote. What the f? notch. And while this does come across as a joke, it also comes across as a joke that's meant to cover up the fact that this is possible, but make the cover-up attempt obvious as if he were like the narrator in a story giving us hints. So yeah, if not just saying that he's able to get out of the game if you leave it running at night, maybe it's actually a thing. And finally, in at number 1, commands. Is it possible that, like with weather control, Herobrine just has access to or is able to utilize Minecraft's command system? It could explain basically everything that we know he can do, and why it's so difficult to actually follow him. He could use commands to teleport away, maybe he makes himself invisible, maybe he's in creative mode, which is why he can't be hurt, or maybe he's in spectator mode, watching us in the mines, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It's what people do when they're trolling and impersonating him. I've done it in the past. They use commands to seem like they have like supernatural abilities. So what if that's what Herobrine is doing? Even on single player worlds where commands aren't enabled, you can still gain access to them by opening the world to LAN. So maybe, even if you think Herobrine isn't in your world, he is. I mean, he was around before LAN worlds were even a thing, after all, so why would that stop him now? That feature, even if you don't use it, probably gives him an actual way to get into the commands, meaning that he would be more powerful now than ever before. Which would also be explained because of all the MCCs that have caused multiple player deaths. That's all the time we have for today, little friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Shall Rain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. Let me know what other Minecraft lists you want to see.